So, to mark M.E Awareness Week in 2024, I'm interviewing a couple of people that do advocacy and run organisations for the benefit of people living with M.E in different places around the world, to show that M.E is a global issue and to show that different organisations possibly have different priorities or different work that they're currently doing. So today I'm interviewing Bridget Collins, who's the chairperson of M.E Maryland. Hello, Bridget.
Hello, Sally. Good to see you.
Yeah, and you. So, Bridget, do you want to explain in 2024 what M.E Action Maryland considered to be the top two priorities in terms of your work in advocacy?
So we have made medical education and community our top two priorities for 2024, and we're going to continue to make them our top two priorities going forward. We're committed to educating the public and committed to making provider education a big part of what we want to do, because we feel like that's what we need, that we need to focus on getting stronger provider education if we're going to go anywhere at all, and that you can't forget the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I agree with you with the education. That's why I've done Stripey Light Bulb, and patients are at the centre of everything that I do. And I've seen your, is it Teach Me?
Teach me, teach me, treat me. Teach M.E, treat M.E. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks really interesting. I'd encourage anybody that's watching this to participate in that as and when you see it on social media. Really good initiative. Yeah, it's difficult. When I say what are your top two priorities, a lot of organizations have an awful lot of priorities, and I know it's difficult to
We
narrow
do.
it
It
down.
is hard to bottom line it to two, because we also do, work with our legislative branch in doing a whole bunch of things right now. But, medical education is across everything, and, the community is where it is. If you're not helping your people, what's the point? So.
Yeah, we can't progress without education, no way. And what is your organization currently working on in terms of projects? Not necessarily as part of M.E Awareness Month, but wider, if you can tell us about it.
So one of our Teach Me, Treat Me programs is going to go on for quite some time. So we're doing a pediatric M.E webinar series with Dr. Peter Rowe.
Mhm.
And the first one comes out tomorrow, which would be the 9th, which will already happen when this is out. But the next one is going to be August 12th. And there are going to be at least 4 of them, probably 5 or more. And we're really excited about it. I had child onset M.E, so it's really important to me that we talk about pediatric M.E more. And to be able to do that, to be able to have Dr. Rowe specifically creating new content for pediatrics is really big for us.
That is really big. That's a name that I recognize. I had M.E undiagnosed, but 13 to 15. And I was very lucky that they just kind of took it on face value without a diagnosis and said, well, we can see she's not communicating effectively when she slumped in the afternoon. And for 2 years, I wasn't really attending school. So yeah, that's a really key project by the sounds of it. Yeah, if
Yes.
you've got any links to share with me, I'll put it on the post so people can check out more information.
Awesome, great, yeah.
Yeah, happy to do that. Um, so the third question, what is the one thing you wish people outside of the community understood about M.E?
The one thing is that it is I don't know if this counts as one thing, but we're gonna try. That it is a uh, real disabling illness that can happen in a blink,
Mm,
because
absolutely.
it could happen to anyone at any time, I think is the biggest thing. But a very real illness that isn't something that just happens to people because they're not eating right or they're not exercising right, but just could happen to anyone.
Absolutely. That ties into the stigma, doesn't it? So from day one of M.E. Foggy Dog, I've said I'm tackling the stigma, because too many people think won't happen to me. I'm not lazy. I'm fit. I eat the right diet. I'm never ill. It doesn't matter. M.E. doesn't care. And as you say, it affects you in the blink of
I
an eye
mean,
very, very quickly.
I was 11. I wasn't any of those things, right? Like so many of us weren't. And then when you try to talk about it, how do you talk about, I mean, so many people, and then they're like, well, I was a hyper performing. Well, we can't talk about it that way either, because it strikes people who are lazy and tired, and it's because it strikes everyone.
Mm.
There is no one person it strikes, because everybody is at risk.
Yeah, this thing about when the whole horrible yuppie flu name was around, and it
Oh
was
my
all ME
God.
patients are perfectionists. It's like, well, I am, but that's because it's a personality trait. There are just many people who aren't perfectionists that have ME. So I don't like the fact that patients are blamed because of our personality traits or whatever, when it can literally affect absolutely anybody, from the couch potatoes to the triathletes to the people that had a like a sit down tertiary job, sedentary, that's the word I was thinking of, sedentary job, to those that are, lifting and shifting stuff and furniture removers and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't matter what your
No,
lifestyle is. So yeah, so I agree. And it's a complete life altering, awful disease. So yeah,
in a blink of an eye, it's a life altering disease.
and I think sometimes that's the hardest bit to get your head around. It is kind of, where did this come from? Why has my life gone from this to the complete opposite? Very like that. And it's yeah, because you
We
haven't had
need
an
like a,
accident or
did you
anything.
ever see, there's this moving sliding doors where
Yes.
it's we need one of those with this illness where it's just like, what happened to my life? Where did it go? And it was just like, oh, you got a virus, or you got an environmental trigger, or you got this, and it just changed. That's the thing. We
Yeah.
need a sliding doors.
When I first got ill, which is 2006, I'd just moved house. I'd moved home to my parents' home, but it was like a 300-mile trip. And I decided to do a master's degree, and I'd left 2 jobs. It was a massive upheaval. And I happened to get a ear infection, viral infection. And I've always wondered, if I hadn't relocated, if I hadn't gone to university, what if? So yeah, it's very sliding doors. If I'd chosen not to do that, would I still be here today? Would I have not caught that infection? But to be honest, do you, sometimes I wonder if you're like, oh, what's the phrase? If you're liable to get ME, would it, for example, if you'd taken a different door, a different opportunity, if you are susceptible to getting ME, do you think a different virus or a different life event would have?
I do. See, I believe that it's a cascade type illness.
Hmm.
So if you avoid one pathway to it at one point, something else is liable to create that pathway later
Yeah.
on down. Um, but that doesn't mean you wouldn't have those good years, or that when you reach that pathway, it might be a different version. Could it be better or worse?
Yeah.
These are all these are all interesting things I'd like to know,
Yeah. The
and
longer I'm
study.
in that, the longer I'm an advocate, the more I think, yeah, I think certain people have got a susceptibility to it.
But I do.
As we've just gone through a pandemic and I've now had COVID 3 times, if I hadn't developed ME by 2020, I'm pretty sure I, will have done. Who knows? We'll never know. But
We, I don't know, never, but maybe one day we'll be studying smarter.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Last question. Now, this is a really difficult one to answer because I've got personally got a million answers to this. What is your ME dream? What is your utopia for people living with the disease? Now, this is a bit like a world peace question, but I've put in brackets, but realistically achievable.
So I had thought about this one different yesterday, like a realistically achievable thing, and come up with a really nice like worldview that was happy, and then
Let's do
I was
realistic. What's your realistic
and then I
answer?
was reading Twitter yesterday and I changed my mind, and the realistic thing I want there to be, and I think this could be achievable, but it is hard, but it is the utopia I would like right now, is no more exercise trials.
Mm,
That would be a realistic dream utopia
yeah,
that should be achievable and that we would all find correct.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's basic. That's pretty much we. Okay, we don't accept it, but let's just pretend we accept that there are no treatments. We effective FDA approved treatments. We accept that there are no cures,
mhm.
but just don't harm us. If it's
Right?
known that
Is it
exercise
is that
harms
not
us,
is that
stop
not what
it.
they're supposed to be doing?
Is that too much to ask? I think.
I just told you that that would be a utopia, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But and it and it would be a lot of work, but it seems like it should be a achievable, like, possibly, and may only be achievable for, like, 5 to 10 years, and then we have to do it again, but, because 'cause they're very stubborn about this one thing,
mm,
but,
yeah. Well, they're now in the UK. BACME are now calling it adventure something. It's like it's still
because
coded exercise
exercise
therapy.
exercise wasn't enough, now you have to adventure.
Yeah. Why would you not want to go on an adventure? Why are you saying you don't want to do it? There's something wrong with you.
I don't know, because getting out of bed to pee hurts me, so I
Mm.
don't wanna go on an adventure.
If you wanted to do stuff like that, you would do it. The reason we don't is because we can't physically do it.
It's not a lack of wanting.
Mm.
We wanna do it. We wanna do it so badly it hurts. We just physically cannot do it, because physically doing it also,
Yeah,
hurts.
yeah. Actually, that is a really the perfect answer, because there are lots of things that would benefit our community. But the one thing that they do that harms our community is what we need them to stop, is stop the harm rather than, because then it would cause less deterioration because people wouldn't be pushed into going past their energy envelope in order to get insurance payouts or medical treatment or whatever else. And we know that that's the history of ME. But yeah, no, really good answer.
I
Well
had
done.
I had a much more pie in the sky one yesterday.
Go on, do the pie in the sky one.
No, no, we're gonna leave it on this one. We're gonna leave it on the, like, one that I wanna actually, like, work on achieving, that could be done, and we should all, like, unite around no more exercise treatments.
Yeah, because they're not treatments, they're just
They're not.
harmful. And
Right.
yes, one thing I haven't mentioned is that Bridget Foggy sat in Maryland last month before, and you will have seen all of the photos. I'm going to add some to this video now so you can see what he got up to while he was over there with Bridget. So thank you very much for that, for giving me your time and energy to make his current global challenge interesting. And I love the fact he went to the NIH. That's possibly my favorite picture. But yeah, thank you very much for talking to me today. I think it's very obvious that different organisations in different places around the world have got different projects, different not agendas in a bad way, but different priorities that they're currently working on. And it's fascinating to me as an advocate. So I'm sure patients will find it equally as interesting. But again, Bridget, thank you very much for talking to me. Take care of yourself.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.